Hey guys, and today I'm about to play some Sonic Mania. What happened?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Grizzly True Crime. My name is Letecia. I'm South African, living in the Netherlands. If you are new here, welcome. Hope you will consider subscribing, hitting the bell so you don't miss another upload. I uploaded a video for you guys today, which was the clip part of Letecia Stauch's Google search history from yesterday. You've got to watch it. If you missed it, go check it out or check out the timestamps from yesterday. That was like brand new information. Like so many new crazy searches. Welcome to day 18 of the trial. We're covering it live every day here with you. If you are new, welcome. By the way, welcome to membership. Welcome to all the new members. Welcome patrons, members, moderators, all subscribers, new subscribers, everyone. Okay. If you are new to the trial, just check out the description box. There's a case background there for you. I've got two playlists for you, Letecia Stauch Trial and Gannon Stauch case. There's deep dive timelines and videos and everything that you could want on there. Let me just quickly add the court here quickly. Just hold on 1 second so that we can just monitor it. I don't want to miss the start. Okay, so if you have missed out on any of the live streams from the trial days, I do take my time to timestamp everything for you, which means chaptering out the whole day. Okay. So what I do is I highlight key moments. So if you hover over the video, you'll see it. Or look in the pinned comments, you'll see it. You can just click on what the title is or look in the description box. Okay. So court is set to start today, of course, in the next 5 or 6 minutes or so. Yesterday they started a few minutes early. So that's why I'm here like monitoring. Big day. The prosecution's going to rest their case today. We thought it would be yesterday, but they're going to do that today. And let me just fix my jacket. Okay. And then the defense takes over and they've got two witnesses coming today, Dr. Niederhauser and Dr. Dorothy Lewis, which we've spoken quite a bit about as well. Brenda says, I'm feeling really anxious today. Don't worry, Brenda. That's why we're here watching this together. Okay. We're all in this together. So I actually also feel anxious. I was already anxious yesterday because I'm like, oh my word. What are these experts for the defense going to say? Because from what we've seen, from what we can observe, Letecia Stauch seems to be quite the malingerer, you know, feigning those DID type symptoms. And then she throws in all kinds of other labels, which can be quite offensive, you know, to people that actually suffer from all these disorders that she's cherry picking from. So let's see now what these experts are going to say. Jinxie says, G, bottle your energy. I need some. Should I be selling some energy? It's called coffee. Then thank you so much to everyone who bought me coffee.
All right, court will call 20 CR.
Here we are. Here we go.
1358 People versus Letecia Stauch. Record should reflect the jury's not present in the courtroom. Yesterday, when we took our break, Ms. Gratiano had gone through all of the exhibits. There were 5 that there were questions about. It was 204, 221, 293, 339, and 713. My understanding is that's been cleared up. I've also spoken with my court reporter. All of those exhibits have been admitted. Is that right, Kathy? Okay. So do you disagree, defense? Okay. So that means that all of the exhibits that I have as admitted, let me double check these here.
Okay, there we go. How's the view? It's good so far, right? Ah, there's Letecia. Yes. The trigger bunny. We need that for today. Well, let's see. Let's see.
All right, prosecution, what's your plan today?
Well, first of all, thank you for letting us do that exhibit audit to make sure that we had admitted everything. Our plan is, as soon as we bring the jury in, based on having that conformity between what we believe we had admitted and now what the court understands that we've also admitted with no objection from defense, we'll plan to rest as soon as the jury comes in.
Okay. Who are you calling first? Oh, sure. Hold on just a second.
They said yesterday, Dr. Niederhauser. So let's see what happens. Yesterday, you guys made some YouTube shorts for you today. So check those out if you haven't seen them. It was Harley Hunt's birthday yesterday. So yesterday when Letecia was lip syncing something, it really does look like happy birthday, Harley, like that. You know, so I think that's what she was doing. I've made a short on it. Go check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Oh no, Jody says, gee, you forgot to say sound check. Jody, sound check. Mic check. Yes. Okay. So let's see. And I also made a short of Will Cook sanitizing himself. Hey. Why are you changing camera cord angles now? You're ruining our view. Something changed there now and it went all dark in the courtroom. Come on, man. Perimeter lights on. Did I switch it on? If I need to, I'll brighten it myself. The judge is listening like, mm-hmm. His face is like, Let's make her a little bit bigger here. It does look almost like she's got makeup on today, huh? She put some coffee on those brows. What do you think? She's also ready. She's seen my snarky brows and she's ready to do some as well. Getting ready for that snarky brow. Okay, but let's be nice to all the witnesses today, okay? Let's keep it cool, guys. We're going to watch this together. Stephanie Todd, welcome to membership. Also, members, keep in mind that slow-mo doesn't apply to you, but if you all type everything that you're thinking, then we all can't see what the hell's going on. So if you guys could, just keep in mind, think before you type, okay? I know we're all excited. We want to say a lot of things, okay? But if you could, just keep in mind, the more members that type, the more slow-mo doesn't apply. And the more I can't even see comments that go by. They just fly. They like say, grrr. So just keep that in mind, okay? Susan says, thank you so much as well for that. How could anyone hurt such a lovely little man, Gannon? I know, right? The mind boggles. Like, how could you? There's so many child killers out there, you guys. Oh my word. All these cases we see pop up daily. I mean, this is a very high profile case. But every day, if you're on Twitter and you follow me there, wow, we see so many. And I'm like, why? People are doing terrible things to children worldwide. Oh my gosh. What is she doing now? We're looking. Cute. Wild Sage says, treat for kitty cat. You guys spoil Fury so much. It's not like he needs an ego boost. Thank you so much. I will spoil him. He needs some new mousseline pate. That's what he eats. So thank you so much. I'll buy him some of that. Thank you so much, Ozarcadian. I hope Ozarcadian. Thank you so much. Cara's like Grizzly Code. Think before you speak. Yes, indeed. Think before you type. Otherwise, it's all a blur. It's a good problem to have, though. We've got so many members now, and slow mode doesn't apply to members. So it's kind of a little bit of a good problem to have of like, ooh, what do we do now? Because now we've got so many people that don't type at slow mode. And it's like, oh no. How will I see any comments? Yes, I saw this. I generally focus on one case at a time, but I did see that. Meaning when I'm live streaming, I'm like focused on this case. I'm here for Gannon. Also, I do have my necklace, by the way. I've got it. I was just really struggling to get it on today, man. Sometimes these freaking little clasps. So don't worry. People always ask me, have you got it on today? If you don't see me wearing it, it's because I struggled. Okay. What are they discussing at length like this? I really think Leticia's got some makeup on today, huh? Damn. Looking her best for the defense. Is she going to take the stand? Oh, my word. I must look at your poll results, you guys. We try again. Did I do it? I think I did it this time.
Okay. Let's go ahead and bring the jury in then.
There we go. Here comes the jury. Okay. It's my necklace in honor of Gannon. It's a blue crystal heart. If you didn't know, if you're new here. Yes, I see lots of people voting maybe. I'm just waiting for the jury to enter.
We do have everybody, right? Okay.
Misty, I think he can't say anything because he's leaving it for the jury to look. Someone with legal experience left a cool comment yesterday. I'm like, oh, like that could be grounds for a mistrial or something, I believe. So meaning, oh, the jury's watching. They're watching that behavior, which is great. Welcome, welcome, Tracy.
Can you guys do return time of 1 o'clock? I'll rise for the jury, please. 1 o'clock, will that work?
Here we go. Oh, different shirt today too. She got a fresh outfit on.
Thank you. You may all be seated. Court will recall 20 CR 1358, People versus Letecia Stauch. Record should reflect the jury has returned to the courtroom. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
It's a little better here today. Working on splitting that difference thing seems to be helping out a little bit.
That's so sweet.
Let's hope it stays that way. Again, has anything occurred since we were last together that causes any of you to believe you could not continue to serve as a fair and impartial juror in this case? If so, please raise your hand. No response.
Thank you.
All right. With that, when we took our break yesterday, we were still in the midst of the prosecution's case in chief. Mr. Allen, call your next witness, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. With Kevin Clark's testimony yesterday, that concludes the state's evidence, and so we would rest our case at this time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what that means is the prosecution has presented all of the evidence which it has decided to present in this case to prove all of the charges against the defendant beyond a reasonable doubt. At this point in time, the defense has the opportunity, but not an obligation, to call witnesses. I want to remind you that the defense does not have to present any evidence or call any witnesses. With that, does the defense have any witnesses it intends to call?
We do, Your Honor.
All right. Do we know who?
Your Honor, we'd like to call Dr. Rhonda Niederhauser.
All right.
Rhonda Niederhauser. Sorry, I'm saying it in such a way. Dr. Rhonda Niederhauser. Here we go, guys. The state has rested the case. Niederhauser. So hope I spelled it right. Here we go.
Dr. Niederhauser, if you would step forward and raise your right hand, please, ma'am. Come a little closer.
Oh, just go right there. Sure.
It's okay. Do you swear or affirm the testimony about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Go ahead and have a seat in the witness stand. Please watch your step as you step into the stand.
Deep breaths, everyone. Deep breaths. Okay, I'm just going to move him over.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please state your full name and spell your last name for
Sure.
the court reporter who's seated right in front of you?
It's Rhonda, Ronda. And you need my middle name too?
Last name's
Okay. Niederhauser, Niederhauser.
How are you employed?
So I work at Fort Carson. I work at Evans Army Medical Hospital, and I work in Ivy Medical Clinic. It's a primary care clinic office.
Okay.
And I'm a clinical psychologist.
Okay. And what is your education?
I have a doctorate degree, PhD in clinical psychology, and then I have a postdoctoral master's in clinical psychopharmacology.
Okay. And is this your full-time job at Evans Hospital on Fort Carson?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. And you work at a primary care clinic?
I do, yes.
Okay. Do you exclusively or primarily treat people that have had mental health
Clinic
or?
office.
Okay.
And I see
mental
all
condition.
kinds of different things. I would say the primary is people with depression, anxiety, adjustment disorder. I work mostly with the dependents of military spouses or military service people. And then I work with veterans and their family members as well.
Do you do active duty soldiers as well?
Occasionally, our clinic is primarily for the dependents, veterans
Okay.
and their dependents. Yeah.
All right.
Occasionally, there'll be a mom that brings her kid in and has some postpartum depression or anxiety, and I'll see them. But we have other clinics that will take care of the active duty service members.
How long have you been at Evans Hospital?
10 years.
10 years? And how long have you been a practicing clinical psychologist?
Since 2000.
2000?
23 years.
All right. So in December of 2019, did you meet with a Letecia Stauch?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And is this Ms. Stauch seated at the table, as you recall?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And what day did you meet with her?
I don't have that.
Okay.
But from memory, based on the records I reviewed, I think it's December 5th and also December 13th.
Okay. All right. And what did you meet with her about?
So she came in to see her primary care doc first, and that's kind of what I do. I'm a clinical psychologist, but I work as a behavioral health consultant. So my job is to work with the primary care docs to see what care somebody may need. So do they just need brief intervention? Do they need ongoing counseling? Do they just need medications? Kind of get them to the right place. So she originally came in to see her primary care doc. She was having some constipation, and the doc also did a depression and anxiety screener on her. And based on her anxiety symptoms and what she was going through with stress, her doctor walked her into me. And I have 30-minute appointments. I don't do the typical psychologist type of job because I work in a primary care clinic office and I get people walked in all the time. So she was walked in for me for stressors with her work, and she was having some anxiety symptoms.
Okay. So she went to see her primary care doctor back in December 2019.
Correct.
And your understanding is the primary care doctor thought that it would benefit her to come and meet with you, a clinical psychologist.
That's correct.
Okay. And how long did you talk to Ms. Stauch? Was it the full 30 minutes? Or
I documented it was 30 minutes. I
Oh.
didn't have a timer on it, and I can't tell from 4 years ago. So I'm sorry.
okay. And what was your diagnosis, or did you make a diagnosis?
It was anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder.
Okay. Did you prescribe any medication or treatment or therapy for her?
So I don't prescribe, so I make recommendations to the primary care docs. And then I recommended that she see a therapist.
Okay. What was your recommendation for medication?
Hydroxyzine.
Hydroxyzine?
She had said that she had tried other medications in the past, and she wasn't having depressive symptoms. It was more anxiety, and she was having trouble sleeping. And hydroxyzine is an antihistamine. It's like Benadryl. It's what you can get over the counter, which is in Tylenol PM, that can make people sleepy. But Benadryl has never been a medication that helps people with anxiety. Hydroxyzine, we found, can help with anxiety and can help with sleep.
Okay.
And that's what I had recommended.
Was she ever prescribed lorazepam by you or anybody else that you're aware of?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did you discuss stress and anxiety that she was having from her work as a teacher?
Yes. So she had told me that somebody at her work was being harassed and that she stood up for that person. I don't know what kind of witness she was to them, but because she was a witness, she felt like she was being harassed.
Okay. And at some point, you provided a letter dated December 5th, 2019. There's also a letter dated December 15th, 2019, that has your name and everything, but there's not actually a signature. Do you recall that letter?
I do. Do you want me to speak to both letters?
No, just the latter one.
Yeah. The second letter, so I saw Ms. Stauch on the 13th of December. And at that time, she was doing better. She had decided that she was going to quit that job and she was going to go in another school district. She was going to look for a teaching job in another school district. And because she had made that decision, I think some of her anxiety was relieved. In fact, when I did it's called a behavioral health measure 20. So it measures all kinds of different things, including anxiety. Her symptoms had gone down. And I think that was mainly because of making that decision to leave that job. So she left, and then I got an email from her that she apparently had talked to her work, her boss, whatever the case may be, and they told her that they wouldn't allow her to quit because she was on a contract, and if she wanted to resign, she'd have to have a letter from her doctor indicating that it was recommended. And so that was the letter that I had written, was that I recommended that she be able to resign from her position based on her anxiety symptoms.
Okay.
And then I
you-
sent the letter. I'll finish it.
I'm sorry. And you had,
Wait. Let's stop both of them. I know it's hard for you because everybody comes in, number one, they're nervous.
Sure.
And they may not have done this before, but the court reporter is taking down everything we say as we say it.
Sure.
That's important for one thing. It's easier for her to take things down if only one of you is talking at a time. It's also easier if you speak slower.
Okay.
She'll appreciate that.
Okay.
So let's try again.
and you provided Ms. Stauch a copy of the letter where you recommended that she step down from her current teaching position.
Correct.
Okay. Did you provide that a written copy to her? Or did you send it via text, electronic, email?
I sent it by email. I sent her a draft of the letter,
Okay.
which means basically I didn't sign it. I sent her the draft so she would be able to read it and see if she felt like it was sufficient, if I was not putting in too much information or if I was putting in not enough information. So I sent that letter, the draft of the letter, to her.
The therapy that you recommended that she start, what type of therapy are we talking about?
It just would have been individual
Talk therapy
Yes.
with a psychologist or psychiatrist?
therapist, yes.
Okay. After December 2019, did you have any more contact with Ms. Stauch?
No, I did not.
Okay. Can I have just a second, Your Honor?
You may.
That's all I have. Thank you, doctor.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Ron.
I apologize, everybody. I'm nervous.
Would it surprise you you're not the first person that's been nervous on the witness stand?
I was hoping I wasn't the only one.
Everybody feels it. Don't worry
Okay.
about it.
Okay.
So Dr. Niederhauser, I think you said you've been a clinical psychologist since 2000. Is that right?
That's correct.
When you see a patient like you did with this particular defendant, what kind of things do you have access to?
Their report, of course, we do scales. We do a depression scale, which is called the Patient Health Questionnaire 9, and it gets the main symptoms of depression. We also do what's called a generalized anxiety disorder questionnaire. It's called a GAD-7. And so we have access to that, to give that to people. The second appointment, we do a behavioral health measure 20. The only reason that we did that one is the first one was with her PCM, and the primary care docs provide those questionnaires. I'll also provide it if the docs have not provided it, if they walk in to see me. But the behavioral health measure, when somebody has an official appointment with me, they're filling that out in the waiting room, and then they bring it to me. That's what the government wants me, the military wants me to have people fill out. I
Government,
like the other two forms better, but that's what they have us fill out. So,
government and the regulations, right?
yes, military, yes,
Do you get a description of symptoms from the patient?
I do.
You agree that this particular patient, the defendant, endorsed that she had sleeping problems,
I do,
that she was feeling tired,
yes.
that she was having trouble concentrating,
Yes, I believe so.
and that she had moderate level of anxiety.
That's correct.
And then that she also, though, denied any suicidal ideation.
That's correct.
What does suicidal ideation mean?
Where she wants to kill herself.
She also denied any homicidal ideation.
That's correct.
She denied any intent or plan to commit either suicide or homicide as well.
That's correct.
And that was on December 5th, correct?
Correct.
Did that hold true on the second date, on December 13th?
It did.
She cited as the factors of her psychological issues as the stress at work, correct?
That's correct.
And that she was trying to quit that job,
That's correct.
and that she wanted a letter from you to be able to quit that job.
That's correct.
Did you consider the option that she might be manipulating her visit with you to get a letter to present to work?
I did not. That's not typically how we
Okay,
operate. We trust the people that come in to see us. I would not be a good psychologist if I cross-examined every person that came in
sure.
and said, I don't believe you. So that's how a therapeutic relationship works, is you have to trust the person that's coming in to talk to you.
Did you note in your notes on this from December 5th that there was no disorientation observed?
That's correct. She knew where she was, who she was,
Why is that important?
situation. It's important because you have to know who you are, where you're at, what's going on.
And she had no problems there.
No, not at all.
She also was not exhibiting any hallucinations, correct?
That's correct.
Her memory was not impaired.
That's correct.
Even remote memory was not impaired.
Correct.
And more significantly, recent memory was not impaired.
That's correct.
Judgment was also not impaired.
That's correct.
Speech was normal.
Correct.
Rate of speech was normal.
Correct.
Didn't seem to be pressured in her speech.
Correct.
Tone was not abnormal. It was not monotone or any other abnormality.
Correct.
And volume was normal.
Yes,
And in fact, you noted no language abnormalities were demonstrated at all.
that's correct.
You also went through her thought processes, correct?
Correct.
They were not impaired.
Correct.
In fact, you noted that they were linear, logical, and goal-directed, correct?
Correct.
You also evaluated her for connectedness, correct?
I'm sorry, what?
Connectedness. Do you remember that?
I don't know what.
Okay, there's a note in your report that said evaluation of connectedness showed no deficiency.
Correct.
What does that mean?
So I think what you're referring to, and this has been like an old note, so I don't have access to it. But I think that it refers to how you connect to other people. And I didn't see any problems with her connecting to me. And she had connections to other people, her family.
Okay. And just so you're aware, I know that you're nervous. It's okay to be nervous, like I was talking about at the beginning. If you can't remember, and it would be helpful for you to review your report. If you tell me that you can't remember and it would be helpful, I can show you your report and
Okay.
then you can review it, okay?
Okay.
That's a standard thing that we do with lots of witnesses.
Sure.
You noted that her insight was intact.
Right.
What does that mean, insight being intact?
She recognizes what's going on with her. She has insight that she has anxiety, that kind of thing.
And you also noted that she was not having any delusions.
Correct.
If you're noting all of those things, are those signs that somebody is not suffering from a severe mental health disorder?
That's-
We approach.
No, if you have an objection, state it.
I don't believe this witness is allowed to.
Where's the sound now? Where's the
Then she
sound?
can- Then she can tell me if that's the case.
And what I'm asking Dr. Niederhauser is, based on your years of experience as a clinical psychologist since 2000, and then working as a clinical psychologist for Evans Army Hospital and at Fort Carson's, are those types of things that somebody would suffer if they are suffering from a severe mental health disorder?
Can I answer that or no?
I'm not the one giving direction here.
Okay. So what I basically would say is if I had any concerns that she was a danger to herself, a danger to someone else, or she was gravely disabled, which means she was psychotic or so severely depressed that she wasn't functioning, then I would have placed her on a 72-hour hold and sent her to a psych hospital. So she had some anxiety, she was having some stress, but she was not suffering from severe mental health disorder to the point where I felt she was a danger to herself or others, or couldn't function,
Okay.
or was psychotic.
Okay. And that's exactly what I was asking. This particular patient was not suffering at the time that you saw her in December on the 5th or the 13th of any severe mental health disorders, correct?
That's correct.
In fact, you noted that she was only suffering from generalized anxiety disorder.
Correct.
What is generalized anxiety disorder?
So that's where you have anxiety, and for people that aren't familiar with anxiety, it's just worry, nervousness, like I am right now. And so you worry about everything. So you don't just worry about certain things, you worry about a lot of things.
Okay. On December 13th, you went through the same sort of neurological assessment of the defendant, correct?
Correct.
You noted that there was no disorientation observed,
Correct.
that she was oriented to place, person, time, and situation,
Correct.
that she was not suffering from any hallucinations,
That's correct.
that her memory was unimpaired,
That's correct.
and that remote memory was not impaired,
Correct.
recent memory also not impaired,
Correct.
judgment was not impaired.
Correct.
Why is it important to note that her judgment was not impaired?
Because if somebody's has poor judgment, then they're going to make bad decisions.
And her judgment was normal.
Correct.
Her speech was normal.
Correct.
Tone again was appropriate, no volume issues or monotone issues or anything like that, correct?
Correct.
And then you noted on that same day, December 15th, that last time that you had evaluation with this defendant, that she was still only suffering from generalized anxiety disorder.
Correct.
You mentioned the M1 hold, that 72-hour hold. Tell the jury what that is.
So it's a hold that I can place on somebody and send them to a psych hospital. It's up to 72 hours. Generally, when you send them to the psych hospital, the psychiatrist or whoever's in charge at the hospital will continue to keep them on that hold. The reason we place somebody on a 72-hour hold is because they're a danger to themselves, they're a danger to someone else, or they're gravely disabled, like I was saying before. So they're so psychotic that they don't know who they are, what they're doing, or some people are so severely depressed that they're not eating, they're not taking care of themselves, they're not functioning. So that's where we can place somebody on it's called an M1 hold in the state of Colorado.
And during your career as a clinical psychologist, have you ever dealt with somebody that you had to put on an M1 hold?
So since I've been at Fort Carson working in a primary care clinic office, I don't see it as often, but I would say probably in the 10 years I've been doing this, it's probably been once or twice a year. So it's not frequent, but it happens. Prior to this, my job was as a mental health evaluator at Memorial Hospital for 5 years. And that's exactly what I did. People would be brought into the emergency room to make a determination if they were a danger to themselves or others or gravely disabled. And so I put people on M1 holds or emergency commitments. Emergency commitment is same thing, except you're under the influence of alcohol or drugs. And the emergency commitment, you would send them to detox, and that's a 5-day hold. And so I had a lot of experience of working in emergency situations and placing people on M1 holds or emergency commitments prior to working at Evans for 10 years.
As a professional and as an expert in clinical psychology, do you feel comfortable doing that if you're seeing the signs that would be appropriate for a placement on an M1 hold?
Yes.
Did you see anything about this defendant on either December dates of 2019 that caused you to have any concern that she was a danger to herself or to anyone else?
No, I did not.
Okay. May I have just 1 minute?
You're good.
What was the source of information as it relates to your interactions with this defendant?
Just the clinical interview with her and the scales that we utilized.
So basically everything coming directly from her.
Correct.
Did she?
The only time we get collateral information is if we do have concerns about somebody being a danger to themselves or others, or they're psychotic, or people are worried about them because they're not functioning. That's when I would get collateral information from other people.
And that didn't occur here?
No, it did not.
Okay. Did she have any history whatsoever of psychological treatment in the past?
She had told me that she'd been diagnosed with anxiety in the past. In her medical records, she does have a diagnosis of panic attacks and anxiety. And then she had told me that she had tried different medications, but I don't think she'd ever seen a therapist before.
Was there ever any history that you knew of that she'd been in an inpatient treatment?
She had
facility?
not,
Had not.
had not. That's at least what she told me.
She told you that.
Yes.
Okay. Did she mention any, as it relates to the stress or the anxiety, did she mention anything to you about stress related to her stepfather from 20 years ago?
She did not.
Did she mention any stress related to sexual abuse at the hands of stepfather from 20 years ago?
She did not.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Redirect.
I don't have any questions. Thank you. Thank you,
Do-
Doctor.
Do any of the jurors have any questions for Dr. Niederhauser? Looks like we have one. Council would retrieve that and council
One
approach,
question.
please.
One question from the jury. Probably. With those narcissistic qualities they identified, probably yes, Randy. Thank you so much. Letecia's not looking impressed. I wouldn't be either if I was her.
All right. Dr. Niederhauser, did you or the defendant set the second appointment on December 13th?
I did.
All right.
Well, I asked her to get an appointment and somebody scheduled it.
Okay. I will allow reasonable follow-up as to that question only. Mr. Cook? Mr. Allen?
So how was it that you had contact with her to set that second appointment?
So usually what I do is I walk them out. There's a back desk, they check out and then they actually make an appointment. So I think that's how it happened.
Okay, so it's basically at the end of the first appointment, you walk out to the lobby and then you say, set another appointment in a couple of weeks, essentially.
That's correct.
And why did you have to do that for this particular person?
I typically do that as just a normal routine because I want to make sure that I don't do the ongoing therapy, but I want to make sure that I'm following up with patients and making sure that they're getting the help that they need. And so that's why I set it up. And then she did get prescribed that hydroxyzine. And so I wanted to follow up with her and make sure that how she was doing on that medication.
So this was only in response to just you wanting to make sure that what you were recommending was working and to follow up, not because you had some concerns about severe mental health
That's
disorder.
correct.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Niederhauser. You may step down.
Dr. Dorothy Lewis is next, you guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before you came in this morning, the attorneys and I were talking about some logistical things. And I know you might not be surprised. You might be, but you might not be surprised to find that in a case with this number of witnesses, this number of exhibits, sometimes scheduling issues occur. And so we don't have any other witnesses until 1:30. Until 1 o'clock. We're having there's a scheduling issue with respect to the next witness. So what we're going to do is I'm going to send you out until 1 o'clock. If I can have you back in the jury room at 1 o'clock. Again, don't discuss the case with anyone else. Don't discuss the case among yourselves. Don't do your own independent research about any aspect of this case. And the attorneys and I will be dealing with other issues. We're going to talk some probably about some jury instructions, some logistical things and things like that. So while we're not able to use your time efficiently this morning, I still hope to do that here. And we are still ahead of where we thought we would be at this point in time. So I know it looks like there's some downtime, but we're still going to use it efficiently from our end. And we are still ahead of where we thought we would be. So enjoy the morning, I guess. And we will see you at 1 o'clock. All rise for the jury, please.
Wow, it's only 9:30 in the morning there, you guys. 9, 10, 10, 11, 12, 3.5 hours. Let's see what they do. Let's see what we can watch them do here. Sorry, here's Letecia. Nice and big for you. Ooh. Just a little 3.5 hour delay for Dr. Dorothy Lewis. I would then speculate, was that really her yesterday in the courtroom? I don't know about that.
Thank you. You may all be seated. Record should reflect the jury has left the courtroom.
Time to address those issues.
All right, Ms. Stauch, I'm going to go back through some of the questions that I talked to you about last week. I just want to confirm, prosecution, there are no prior felony convictions. Is that accurate?
Correct, Judge. There were some prior felony arrests, but they were not convictions.
Okay. All right. And Ms. Stauch, how old are you? And we've talked a little bit about your education. You have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and a doctorate degree. Do I have that right? And how's your health today? And are you now or have you been under the influence of any alcohol or drugs in the past 24 hours? Do you understand that you have a right not to testify? Can you hear her okay, Kathy? Okay. And if you choose not to testify, then the jury can be instructed about that right and be told that they cannot infer your guilt from the fact that you remain silent, and that it would still be the prosecution's burden to prove the elements of the case to the jury beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that? Do you understand, however, that you have a right to testify? And do you understand that if you want to testify, no one can prevent you from doing so? Do you understand that if you choose to testify, you may be cross-examined by the prosecution concerning any matters which are relevant and material to this case? Do you further understand that juror questions may be submitted, but that the same rules of law, evidence, and procedure that apply to lawyer questions will apply to juror questions, and that improper juror questions will not be permitted? However, legally proper juror questions may be asked of you if you decide to testify. Do you also understand that the decision to testify or not to testify is yours personally, and only you can make that decision? Do you further understand that even though your attorneys may disagree with your decision, that the decision is entirely yours and yours alone? Do you fully understand this advisement? Is there anything further you wish for me to explain to you concerning your right to testify or not testify? What is your decision? Do you wish to testify or not testify? All right, we'll wait until Dr. Lewis has concluded her testimony, and we will see where we are then. And we'll go from there. In the meantime,
So she didn't want to answer now. Okay. Waiting for Dr. Lewis first. Let's see where we're at before she decides to testify or not. Wow. Okay.
let's use a little bit of the time for jury instructions, just preliminarily. I'm going to take out the instruction regarding discrediting by conviction of a felony. We've not had anybody. The instruction regarding expert, I think, is missing some language. I have to look at it. It looks like it's missing some language, so I just need to look at it. And then, Mr. Tellini, do you have a theory of defense? Yeah. Are you intending to submit one? Okay, so, all right. And do you have any objections to the instructions that have been tendered by the prosecution?
The only one I have, they all appear directly with Bull G, except it's the one about lay witnesses.
Right.
On sanity. The objective to that one, I understand it comes from statute, but I think it unnecessarily highlights that testimony. I mean, clearly witnesses can do that. The court, clearly allowed them to do it. So I think it's implied that it's acceptable for them to do that.
Mr. Allen? Mr. Young?
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. Not prepared to give you case law on this particular issue this time, so I'd like to reserve argument until I find the case that addresses this issue.
Okay.
Obviously, there's a statute right on point that allows that to happen, which is 16.8.109. The jury has heard that type of testimony. Defense has objected in front of the jury to that type of testimony. Therefore, the people feel it's necessary to give them an instruction as law with regards to layperson testimony. The wording of that instruction is, I believe I used that particular instruction in another homicide case where insanity was an issue. I just can't recall what case I got that from. And so I'll be able to get that to the court this afternoon.
Okay.
Of course, the defense has an alternative instruction that they'd like to provide. We're more than welcome to look at it.
Well, I'm looking at 16.8.109. This issue came up earlier, I think, in response to Mr. Grusing's testimony. Okay. All right. All right. And Ms. Stauch, as I understand it, you're willing to waive your presence for the jury instruction conference? Okay.
Welcome to the member. Ooh. Yes, cover. Oh, my word. What are they putting over the camera now? Come on now. We want to see her. We want to see her get cuffed. Stop it. They don't want us to see that right now. Don't ask me why. Oh, so annoying. Plagued platypus. Welcome to membership. Can't see a damn thing. Look.
Covered it.
Yes, they covered it. Come on, man. We want to see her. That would have been so cool to see her get cuffed right now. Later. I don't know why. Okay. Off she goes. Yes, Lola. That's what we've been waiting for. Cover.
All right. I'm looking at 16.8.109, and as I was about to say, I think that the instruction as submitted, I'm not sure I'm going to give it in the form that it's in light of, get the citation for you here. I know the case is People versus Dunlap, but I can't remember the citation offhand.
It's like court admins going on. If you're only joining now, Dr. Dorothy Lewis is delayed by 3.5 hours. A little bit of a scheduling issue.
Got 173
So they're only starting with that at 1 o'clock.
Nope, I'm thinking it's 36 P3rd 778. And the case that I'm thinking about now, granted, there are a number of different iterations of Dunlap because it's a death penalty case, so it went up and back a number of times. But I think the case that I'm looking at is 36 Pacific 3rd 778. I can tell you for sure the principle of law is that it was reversed because the language in the instruction that was given by the court did not specifically track the language in the death penalty statute. And so I think the closer that language in an instruction tracks the actual language in the statute, I think the better we are. I do think, and I am inclined to give such an instruction in part because it's warranted by the law, and in part because there has been some testimony regarding from lay witnesses regarding their impressions about Ms. Stauch's mental status at any particular time. And so I think that the jury should be advised that they can, whether they give way to that or not is up to them, but I think that they should be advised that it's proper to consider that and take that into consideration. And then the only other question that I had was you submitted a jury instruction that I didn't know what the source was. It says the question of the defendant's sanity or insanity has reference to her mental condition at the time of the alleged acts, the condition of the defendant's mind previous to the act charged, and since that time may be considered only to aid you in determining her sanity or insanity at the time of the acts charged. It sounds like it's a standard instruction somewhere, but I didn't find it.
And it did these so long ago, it's hard to remember where I got.
Okay.
I got most of them from Colgy, but I also did some from prior cases that I had. So I'll do some research while we have some time and figure out where I came up.
Okay, that one, that's the only one that I had the question about. So, and let's see.
I don't know. I don't think they're going to stay busy till 1. Do you guys think so?
Is there anything else that we need to address prior to Dr. Lewis's testimony at 1 o'clock? Mr. Young?
Besides what we talked about yesterday, that's the only concern I have.
Well, let's talk about that because she's going to be here at 1 o'clock. So what is it that you are requesting?
That the court remind her that she's not to get into the substance of her meeting on Sunday for 3 hours with the defendant and.
Okay. All right. Okay. Mr. Tellini?
She does in the evaluation, diagnose with a possible traumatic brain injury and reference early hospitalizations in the report that was provided before.
Can you show me where that was?
Yeah.
That's in there. I just remember reading that as well.
I remember reading it. I just can't remember which report, whether it was hers or someone else's. I didn't recall it as I was looking at it in hers. So what page are you looking at, Mr. Tilley? I see the diagnosis of the traumatic brain injury by history, but I didn't see where she mentioned. Yesterday, we were talking about a softball incident, and I didn't see that mentioned.
Which is probably the same thing, I'm guessing. Could have been at her intake at the El Paso County Jail, right, guys? Okay. If we need to split this to an afternoon session, we will. Don't you worry about it. No, you won't have to be bored here.
1 o'clock.
Yeah, by the way, there's always things to discuss.
Dr. Lewis will be here.
Yeah.
Dr. Lewis at 1 o'clock. Okay.
So yeah, don't take her back to CJC.
Oh. Yeah, where do they take her? Where does Letecia go now?
Yeah, so on the preliminary report.
The preliminary, okay.
Yes, on the third page. Talked about a second diagnosis could be partial seizure. These kinds of seizures are characterized by auras. She was severely injured when a shell fell on her head and knocked her unconscious. Part of that, she suffered a head injury and was taken to the emergency room for a CAT scan and had a discharge of diagnosis.
Okay. Mr. Young?
I'm talking about a softball, obviously, injury. It's in her report that may lead to this conclusion that she comes up.
Okay.
And I do recall her talking to Ms. Stauch about the bookcase during her forensic interview that was recorded back in.
Okay. I think she can talk about that. Again, she can't talk about a softball injury other than to say that what she says here, prior to that, she suffered a head injury, was taken to an emergency room, required a CAT scan, and had a discharge diagnosis of brain damage. I think she can talk about that. What? Oh, if she wants to come back, she can.
Oh, she wants to come back.
Other than that, is there anything else that we need to take up?
Put that courtroom.
Defense? Okay. All right. We'll see everybody at 1:00 then.
Oh, damn.
And I will tell you that even if we finished early today, we're not going to do closings tomorrow. I think it's fair to give everybody some time to get things together. So the earliest that I would anticipate closings would be Friday.
Damn.
I just think everybody needs to have some time to put all of their thoughts together. So, all right. Court will be in recess then.
Whoa. Goodbye. Let's do the redirect stream. This one. Here we go. Here we go.
Hi Grizzlies! You will now be redirected to the next